Representative Skees, thank you. You don't need to reserve your right to close. You always have the right to close. Are there any proponents?
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Skees, I'm wondering what type of investigation you did before bringing this bill. Did you talk to members of the Supreme Court, former members of the Supreme Court? Did you talk to any of the Supreme Court administration or personnel?
No, sir. But I did talk to quite a few attorneys. But it's funny, when you asked them to come testify on this, a lot of them said, nah, Derek, you can go ahead and take this beer, and we're right there with you. To be honest, sir, I don't have any Supreme Court justices in my phone. I would love to have called them and talked to them.
Where are you from?
I'm from Flathead County.
Flathead. There's an ex-Supreme Court justice that lives up there by the name of Diane Bars. I don't know whether you know Judge Bars or not, but I can tell you Judge Bars resigned from the Supreme Court because of the workload.
Wow.
She didn't have one waking hour that she didn't have to be doing something on reading briefs, reading other things, reading decisions, proposed decisions, and she resigned from the Supreme Court for that reason. I just suggest maybe you might want to talk to her.
It sounds a lot like our 90 days.
Sometimes. I'm wondering, do you have a bill that deals with the reducing the size of the legislature?
No, sir. No, sir.
Your bill would reduce the size of the judiciary to the constitutional minimum, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you familiar with Article 5, Section 2 of the Constitution?
Yes, sir.
Which you could reduce the legislature,
yeah,
the Senate to 40.
I agree.
And the House to 80.
Well, I tell you what, sir. Let me reduce the Supreme Court, and next time I'll do that.
I'm wondering why, since you're a member of the legislature, why you haven't done it this time, instead of the Supreme Court that you said you really don't know anything about.
The idea for this comes about, I think, in the fact that the legislative branch is the weakest branch of our state government. I firmly believe this. Because we meet every other year, we have 90 days to decide the people's business, and that leaves the executive branch the remaining year and a half to dictate to us and make rules, like you well know, and do things above and beyond the scope of power that we have given them. And then the judicial branch gets to sit on high, which is their constitutional authority, and adjudicate laws all year round. And they have become, I would suggest because of this document, really powerful, because a lot of the clauses written in this document are so ambiguous as to their only resolution can be achieved by the Supreme Court. What I would like to do, sir, is to do whatever we can as a body to strengthen the power of the people's actual voice in government, which is the legislature, and reduce the power of the other two components so that there is a leveling effect.
I'd have to agree with you about the executive branch. Do you have a bill to do away with some of the agencies?
I would love to. I would love to.
Thank you, Representative Skees. Do we have any other questions? Representative Skees, you may close.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chair, members of this committee, thank you so much for your time. Excellent job with this little bill I've got. This is awesome. Thank you for everybody that spoke. Kind of wish there was a couple more attorneys that would have spoke up for me, but somehow it doesn't really surprise me. I would like to talk about a few things I heard. Luckily, I spent some years in Toastmasters, and they don't teach you how to speak, they teach you how to listen. I heard diminishing returns quite a few times. I would suggest that a state government that has grown every biennium of its existence is a diminishing return. Also, Representative Creighton, if we had 6 justices, there would be ties. So I would suggest that's another reason why we should go for the 2 instead of the 1. I would also like to talk to the increase of 42%. How do they know what that caseload was? He didn't actually know how many each judge had. So I would suggest a percentage like that could be under scrutiny. Another thing, funny how the Supreme Court thinks that they foster and sponsor job growth. Did I not hear that the Supreme Court creates jobs? When many companies who looked at Montana to come here and decided not to come here say that they didn't because of the judicial climate. Maximum efficiency, one of my favorite terms. I'm a private sector guy. That's all I've known. Maximum efficiency is a goal, not a result. You never get to a maximum efficiency. I would suggest that that is an entirely state-derived statement. Have any of you who own your own businesses achieved maximum efficiency? Have any of you in your homes achieved maximum efficiency? I've been working hard as a parent and a grandparent. I'm nowhere near maximum efficiency. So I would suggest that this is an expression that only government can understand. I had a 60% decrease in the productivity of my company because I'm an endangered species in the Flathead. And for those of you that don't live in the Flathead, that's a builder. I've had 60% reduction in my staff. My jobs are coming back. I can't afford to recover from what I've lost, so I'm doing more with less. And I'm trying to achieve maximum efficiency. So I'm doing it. And I don't have a degree. I didn't go to Harvard. I'm not an attorney. I'm not the cream of the crop of the intellectual establishment, so I'll leave that one with that sentence. Another thing I heard, which I thought was really exciting, justice for the rich. Besides being a crass attempt of throwing the race or the class warfare card, does that mean that if I have more money and I'm on a waiting list of the Supreme Court that I could bump to the front? I was confused with that statement. Last but not least, the people are our employers, all three branches of government. The people reign supreme on this state. We are public servants. That makes them our masters. You've just heard from the people's employees that they cannot work as directed. They could not do more with less. That they couldn't be reduced to 5 because then they can't do the work that we need them to do. How many of us that own companies would take that line from one of our employees? I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Representative Skees. Hearing on House Bill 245 is closed.